This is Scott Becker with the Becker Private Equity and Business Podcast, and welcome to 2024. Here are 14 of the stories that we're following today. At any time, any comments, questions, issues, text Scott Becker, 773-766-5322. We'd love to hear from you. So here's the 14 stories we're following today. First, the NASDAQ and the S&P both dropped yesterday to start the market year. The markets also point significantly down today. Again, a little bit of two things going on. A little bit of concerns that the Fed won't lower rates as quickly as expected. And second, some concerns just generally about the economy. Second, Apple dropped 3.58% yesterday. That weighs heavily on the NASDAQ because it's one of the biggest components. The questions are persisting about whether iPhone sales will pick up as expected or will they continue to be a little bit slow. Third, Rivian, the electric car maker, the automaker, dropped more than 10% yesterday. It had a bad day, missed its deliveries. It's not going well. And we'll talk separately in 4 about Tesla and BYD. In contrast to Rivian, Tesla and BYD, the Chinese auto electrical manufacturer, both had great deliveries. Each are growing deliveries. Tesla stock was flat. BYD is now outpacing Tesla as probably the world's largest EV maker with huge sales in China. Tesla also has more than half of its sales coming from China too, which is fascinating. Fifth, Claudine Gay, the president of Harvard, retired or resigned from Harvard yesterday. We recorded a podcast not long ago titled, "You Can't Tell People You Went to Harvard Anymore." Maybe sooner or later you can now. At the end of the day, and this leads to a different discussion, a totally different business discussion in a second, I personally have gotten very disturbed by the politics and issues going on at Harvard. Both the anti-Semitism and the allowing plagiarism seemed horrible to me. And sort of losing sight of the need in almost whatever you do to go for greatness, to go for excellence. You could also be social conscious driven, social cause driven, but you can never forget that whatever you do, whatever business you're in, you also have to be great at that and excellent at it. You can't give up excellence for social conscious. It's got to be both, really, at the end of the day. It seemed that Harvard in some way had lost their way in terms of truly going for truth and verity, but hopefully moving right in the wrong direction, now moving in the right direction. But this concept, there are lessons for all companies and systems that you can't lose sight of the need to constantly pursue excellence, and we'll talk about that more and more. Sixth concept, as we watch the markets go up and down, we're reminded not to get too excited when they go up, not to get too disenchanted when they go down, to not over binge on spending when they go up, because you know it could go back down, and also to be very thoughtful about your allocation. So when the market goes up, you at least enjoy some of that. But when it goes down, you don't end up in a spot where you're so upset that it's gone down so much and you have to trade out of it. So we look at that concept of hitting an allocation that works for you in up and down times, particularly as you see the market start the year a little bit down. Seventh, we published yesterday a healthcare article with Molly Gamble on 12 trends and stories we're following for 2024. We'll also record that podcast at Becker's Healthcare today, too. Eighth, one of the key concepts, and this goes back to the thing we talked about with Claudine Gay as well. I was meeting with one of the great health system leaders in the country yesterday, and it's always worth remembering that whatever system you're with, you have to be known for and be great at something. You can't be so spread out and so unfocused and trying to do so many things and please so many constituents that you're not great at something. You better figure out what it is you're going to be great at, and being great is more important than being huge. But at the end of the day, we're reminded constantly that you have to be very focused on being great on certain things. You have to be outstanding. You just can't be good at everything. That's our eighth story, and there'll be a separate podcast on that. Ninth, the one-year Treasury yield is right at about 4.8% or so. 10th, a fascinating story that Warren Buffett now and Berkshire Hathaway have nearly 60% of their portfolio in Apple and Bank of America. I think it's 57 or 58%. That's an astounding number, and a lot of it's based on the growth of Apple and not selling Apple, but it's still an astounding number. 11th, Iran, which is causing trouble in the Red Sea and the whole region, is perhaps getting closer to nuclear weapons. This is a problem. 12th, Tesla sells approximately 50% plus or so of its cars in China. I didn't know that. I thought that's fascinating. 13th, on Amazon, you could buy the book, Blocking and Tackling, 60 Keys to Building a Business and Managing Your Money. That's a book written by myself and Grace Keller. We hope you enjoy it. 14th, the U.S. debt has now reached $34 trillion. This seems to me like a lot of money. I say that somewhat facetiously, but it seems like a lot of money. In any event, text me with any questions or comments, 773-766-5322, and look forward to visiting with you. Thank you very much.